What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Rutgers Rundown podcast, episode number 17. Nick Hart alongside my co-host, Matthew Mangam. Matt, was not a good week for Rutgers sports, at least the main things we cover here in season. We got Rutgers women's soccer, Rutgers men's soccer, and, of course, Rutgers football. And, you know, we talked a little bit about some of the media days that have been happening, the winter sports starting to get into full swing. We had basketball a few weeks ago, and today, Matt, we had Rutgers Wrestling Media Day, which you were in attendance for, so I'll let you take the floor.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy thinking about that. Wrestling season's, basically 2 weeks away. You said it, everybody's coming by really quick, all these winter sports are coming up out of nowhere. But, wrestling season right around the corner. It was a very good year for Rutgers last year when it comes to dual meets. 14-5 overall, 5-3 in the Big Ten. Finished the season ranked number 11. That's their best finish, I think, since like the 16-17 season, something like that. Or it's their best ranking to close the season out in a couple of years. But it all kind of fell apart in March, Nick. I mean, that's the most important part of the year. At Big Ten's, guys didn't really do that great. Some place winners, but nothing really. Something that's kind of, worth mentioning, not really worth mentioning, but Shawver wins his Big Ten title in 2024. There's a lot of hype for the team after the great regular season, and Big Ten's not really great. And then you go to NCAA's in Philly, and Dean Peterson pins Figueroa, the reigning national champ, and then ends up losing right after that to Vince Robinson in the, I think, quarterfinals, semifinals, whatever it is. He ended up winning the national title. But then, Dean Peterson, Dylan Shawver, and Joey Olivieri all in the blood round that Friday night, which is the matches. If you win that, you are an All-American. So pretty big match. Still a pretty big deal. And Rutgers went 0-3 in the blood round. It was a tough half hour for the Scarlet Knights. I remember being there watching him. It's just loss after loss after loss. And, so today, media day, Coach Goodale was talking about the team, obviously, this year. And I asked him about how, last year you talked about taking the program to a next level. And, from a dual meet standpoint, they did that, but individually, it didn't really happen. He was like, he's like, you're right. He's like, 12-5 in the Big Ten, 12-5 overall, 5-3 in the Big Ten last year. Who cares if you can't win those big matches in March? That's kind of what it boils down to. He's like, that's what I got to figure out. So that was a big takeaway. And then just talking about the team in general, I mean, they return a lot of guys. You lose Slavakuski at heavyweight, he graduates. You lose Dean Peterson at 125. He transferred to Iowa, which was a really, really big transfer, not scandal, but very big talking point in the offseason. You bring in three great transfers, I'd say. Maybe not three great, but three big transfers. Laney Pinto from Nebraska, that's a huge transfer, huge get. Hunter Katko from VT, and Remy Cotton from Michigan State. So not really a fully new-look team, but some new guys around the program. And, the expectations are still high. This is a consistently good program. There's consistently good wrestlers. It more goes down to just March. That's really what's important for the sport.
Well, and I think a lot of it also comes down to you're wrestling in, I don't even think it's arguable. You're wrestling in the best conference in the nation. You have teams like Penn State who are perennially, number one for however many weeks in a row. You got
they're
teams
undefeated
like
for like years.
I feel like once you get into like the Midwestern states too, they're pretty solid wrestlers.
Nebraska too.
But Rutgers has been in a spot where they're perennially a good team, but they're not perennially. I don't know if there's ever going to be a time where they're perennially better than an Iowa, Nebraska, Penn State, obviously. But we shall see. I mean, you never know with the way the transfer portal is nowadays. I feel like within a season you can have a totally new look program, and season not too far away from starting. November 2nd, the first meet against Centenary College at Jersey Mike's Arena. Yeah,
it's a little quad right there. So they got.
Oh, it is a four. Okay, yes.
4 going on. So Rutgers and those three. I think they're all going to wrestle each other. So it's just going to be more of like a, what's the word? Like, some I don't want to say like practice matches, but it's going to be kind of like, like unofficial scrimmages.
Like scrimmage,
they count, but it's kind of like,
But how much do they really count?
Yeah, it's like Rutgers playing, Norfolk State. It's like that.
We'll get into football in a little bit. But, I mean, you always say there's no preseason in college sports, but your non-conference is usually lesser opponents than what you would face in conference, so a nice way to get things started for Rutgers. And then, you have a little bit of time, and then the tough ones start. They have the Journeyman Jostle, December 7th, where they're going to face NC State, number 10 ranked wrestling program in the nation, and then have to come back home to face number 16 Oklahoma. So not easy. And then, oh, by the way, they play Penn State, They face off against Penn State January 10th. So a lot to look forward to. We'll keep the positive train rolling, Matt. Let's go to women's soccer. This is a team that we haven't had a lot of positive things to say about most of the season, but they break a pretty long losing streak with a 3-1 win against Michigan on Senior Day.
Yeah, I mean, for women's soccer, they're already eliminated from the Big Ten tournament. This was just kind of, happy when they go out. Seniors off with a nice win. It's tough because this is a program that's been so good, for recent years. And to not even miss the national tournament, to miss the Big Ten tournament is honestly pretty insane and pretty, unfortunate. We talked about it in the past, but yeah, teams are going to have down years. It's just going to happen. There'll be a year where teams aren't as good as other years. But yeah, I mean, not really much to take away. We saw, Ashley Barron score a great goal, outstanding goal. Now Terry Mears gets on the score sheet. So the players that you wanted to score did score. They play Maryland this coming Sunday. Just kind of another game just for good morale, I guess. But yeah, a tough season. They have a long off season. They're gonna have to do a lot of work this off season in this program.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of on the other end of the transfer portal in this, right? You kind of look at what you have and you go, all right, changes need to be made. 4-7-4 overall. Only the 2 wins in conference play. Have yet to win a game on the road. A lot of things to take away from the season, right? It hasn't been great, and you kind of, I don't want to say you expected it, but you kind of knew it was going to be a down season with the level of players that you lost last season, whether that be Riley Tiernan, Gia German. But like you said, players like Ashley Barron, Nata Ramirez, kind of stepping up a little bit later on in the season, maybe a little bit too little too late. I mean, for a while, we were talking about it the other day, Rutgers had gone scoreless in 3, 4, 5 games in a row.
That was like in September too.
Yeah, so that was when you weren't even playing Big Ten opponents. Well, I guess you were, but it's obviously not the season you expected, not the season you wanted, but at the same time, you have to take a step back and say, listen, you kind of just got to chalk this up to almost a rebuilding season, right?
Yeah.
You didn't know exactly what you were getting out of the transfer portal. You didn't know what the talent was going to look like coming in, but you did know that you lost a lot. And the biggest thing is you lost a lot of your primary goal scorers. And when you lose a lot of primary goal scorers, guess what? It's going to be tough to replace them. And
yeah.
I think we saw that this season.
Yeah, I mean, I remember after the game, we talked to Ashley Barron, and she basically said it was a down year, but like I'm going to say she didn't say the only positive. She said a positive is that, a lot of this team will be back next year. So a lot of these players are freshmen or underclassmen. You could say like Kennedy Cotter, freshmen. But some of the defense like Julia Joseph, what's her name, Lindsay Haley, freshman. Olivia Bodmer will be back next year. In the midfield, Morgan DePelli, Gabby Gill, they'll all be back. Ashley Barron will be back for her senior year. So yes, this team does need some work, but I think you keep those players and you bring in, use the transfer portal. Hopefully you can get some people that are, some more goal scorers, and this team will be better off. I think the team is better than they really are. I think the team we've seen in the past. Some of these players were here last year. It's just been a down year. So I think that maybe with the new look team next year, some of these players can have a better season next year.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that does come with just the camaraderie and the chemistry on the field or on the pitch. Sorry, got to be proper.
It's okay. You could say field.
But no, a lot of it does come down to the chemistry on the pitch and just playing more games with each other. I mean, we talked about it earlier in the season. This is a team that looked like this is their first time out on the field together.
Yeah.
And realistically speaking, it probably was. There's a lot of new players, and it was kind of, I don't want to say disorganized, but it was kind of a mess to begin the season, right? You watch some of the games, it wasn't crisp, it wasn't clean, and ultimately the team did what they did in the early part of the season. But I feel like now, as the season's progressed, yes, they don't have the best record, but at the same time, you've had decent games against solid Big Ten opponents, and there is, I feel like saying hope is not the right word, but there is some feeling of, hey, if we just have another year with these players together and these girls can have an off season together, they're going to come back. It's going to be better. They're going to look more put together as a team. And you never know. Maybe you have a magical run like you had last year where you make it to the Big Ten tournament finals, or you make a run in the NCAA tournament. You never know. I mean,
yeah,
you really never know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Mike O'Neill, 13 straight, national tournaments. That doesn't happen by accident. that's not just, they got lucky. No, that's building, that's consistently making a good program. And, I don't want to say it was bound to happen, but it feels like it was. So I think that Coach O'Neil is a good coach. I think there's no question about that. Like, I think he's a great recruiter. I just think they had a bad year. I think they could be back next year.
Without a doubt. We'll go over now to some men's soccer. It's been a good season up until this past week. Not so favorable of outcomes, and we talked about it a little bit on the last podcast, Matt. The teams that they had to go up against in these next few weeks were teams that were basically right underneath or above them in the standings in the Big Ten and in the nation. 2-0 loss to Maryland, 2-0 loss to number 21 Washington, and not a good stretch for the men's soccer team.
Yeah, no, I mean, both of these games, they could have got results in these games. The Maryland game had a lot of chances that they missed. Maryland punished them with the goals. It happens. Maryland takes a 2-0 win. As for Washington, that's a tough game right there too, because Washington scores early, right? Rutgers gets back in it, more competitive. Second half, Rutgers has a penalty to tie things up at 1-1 apiece, and Dan Carson misses the penalty. You can't be missing a penalty in a game like that. And then, not too long after, Washington makes it 2-0. So, Carson makes that penalty. It's a 1-1 game. It's very different than a loss. It's a point in this Big Ten standings. It's still something, And Washington maybe would have taken the lead again. We don't know that. I'm not going to speculate here. Rutgers could have taken the lead too, though. We don't know. But, you can't miss a penalty. That's just tough. Yoshi Shell missed a penalty, and Rutgers 2-1 loss to Northwestern earlier in the year. That goal would have made it 2-2. So, 2 times your Rutgers missed their PKs in big situations where they were losing and they needed the PK to tie things up. So, it happens. I know it's bad, but the games could have went differently. But I still think in both those games, Rutgers weren't completely outplayed. They were in those games. They created chances.
And one thing, I'm glad you brought it up, but Yoshi Shell kind of been quiet in the past 5 games. Only 2 shots on goal in his last 5, and that has really been the player who has sparked this Rutgers offense. Whether it's goal scoring, whether it's assisting and setting up other teammates, the offense has really run through him. And when he gets shut down like that, you kind of expect these lower scoring contests. And obviously no ideal time to lose a game, but I feel like none worse than right now where you lose to the 2 teams who are basically one above you, one below you in the Big Ten standings. And now I believe they're no longer ranked, correct?
I think the rankings actually come out today. I don't know if they came out yet, but yeah, I'd imagine that they probably lost the ranking, which sucks because it's they were ranked and now they lost it. I'm trying to look. I don't know.
But I believe got up to
no.
As high
I think they're out of the rankings now. Yeah.
What did they get up to? 16?
13.
13. Okay, so it was a nice stretch, but again, they lost their first game at home, or first match at home against Washington. And then have to hit the road. No easy games left. You have to go on the road to California to play UCLA, home for Michigan State, and then to close out the season, they are on the road in Bloomington to play Indiana. But you got to win out, right? You got to find a way to continue to win, put those games behind you, and finish the season on a strong note, get yourself into a good position in the Big Ten tournament. And then after that, you never know what can happen, right? You got some really solid players all around in this team. Obviously, guys like Yoshi Shell are going to be the names that pop up, but Dan Karsten, 5 goals in the year. Andrew Kitch, 3 goals. Cameron Boomsong with 2 goals. And, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the goaltending play, or goalkeeping play, rather, with Kieran Dalton.
Yeah.
A 1.21 goals against average, and he's got almost a 75% save percentage this season. And the guy's been outstanding. Yeah,
he's been really good. He's been a reason. I mean, the defense in the last 2 games, they conceded 6 goals in the last 3 games. It's not really ideal. It's not ideal at all. But for the most part of the year, the defense has been really solid, and that's a lot because of Kieran Dalton. And something I want to bring up that I remember wasn't really crystal clear, but actually was made clear to me today, because I actually spoke to Nick Collins today. But he confirmed to me that it's top 4 for the Big Ten tournament. It is top 4, and that right now is. Wow, Michigan came out of nowhere. It's Washington with 18 points, Maryland with 17 points, Michigan with 13, and UCLA with 10. That's 4, and then Rutgers is 5th with 10. So that really just
UCLA.
So that really just proves that that they play UCLA Friday. They need to win that game.
If not, Big Ten tournament hopes are pretty much out the window.
Yeah, because then UCLA will have that edge, and they'll be 4 points ahead of Rutgers with 2 games to go for both teams, and things can happen, but you want to have that limit that cushion, I guess you could say. But yeah, Dalton's been insane. Back to your point, though, he's been great.
Yeah, and we'll move on to a team that is most definitely not in the top 4 of the Big Ten at the moment. Probably, I don't even know about probably, definitely in the bottom 4 of the Big Ten as far as conference record goes. The Rutgers football team taking on the Big Bad Wolf, the Oregon Ducks, the first time this season, or first time in the history of the two programs, not this season. And that game went about as well as you would expect it. Rutgers with the 56-10 loss. And it's really funny, Matt, because I'm going through the box scores, right? And the game that sticks out to me is the Norfolk State game, right? 60-10. Oregon was 56-10. You see where I'm going with this point?
The scores?
Yeah, Rutgers beat Norfolk 60-10, and then Oregon beat Rutgers 56-10. So essentially, Rutgers
is Norfolk State.
Rutgers to Oregon is what Norfolk State was to Rutgers.
And the crazy thing is Rutgers and Oregon are both in the same conference.
Yes, they're both Big Ten teams. One of them obviously is one of the top teams in the country when it comes to college football. Obviously, Dante Moore going to be a Heisman favorite, and rightfully so. This team did whatever they wanted against Rutgers. There was little to no pushback from the Rutgers defense. I mean, Dante Moore was 15 of 20, 290 yards, 4 touchdowns, an interception late in the game. Noah Whittington, 11 carries, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jordan Davison, 100 yards and a touchdown. And, I mean, you look at this receiving core, and it is just all over the place with talent, right? Kenyon City destroyed the Rutgers secondary. DeCorian Moore, same thing. Jamari Johnson. I mean, you go down the list, and every one of these Rutgers receivers pretty much almost outgained Rutgers when it comes to throwing the ball. Atham was not good, 8 of 25, 79 yards, 2 interceptions, 3 sacks. It feels like the wheels are falling off, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do I explain this? They were just like, Rutgers had no chance. Like, I don't want to sound like a pessimistic person, but like, they were completely outplayed in every aspect of the game. But like, it wasn't even like they were outplayed. It was like, it wasn't even close. It was like high school versus like, like, I don't even know. Like,
it looked like an FBS team versus an FCS team. Simply put, Rutgers could not do anything.
Like, it looked like Oregon paid Rutgers to have that match in schedule for game on the schedule for the free win. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of those type of games. Like, it's just there was that game. Like, yes, Oregon. No one expected Rutgers to win that game, but the way they played that game gives no one any hope for the rest of the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was bad. It was really embarrassing.
Yeah. You almost had some hope in the beginning of the game. Oregon gets the opening kick. Rutgers forces a fumble, and then 3 straight fades, which made no sense whatsoever, to the end zone. 3 straight incompletions. Rutgers ends up settling for a field goal, and then proceeded to not score until
the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I mean, just all around a really tough game to watch. Granted, this is an Oregon team that is going to be competing for the Big Ten championship. They're probably going to be, fighting it out with Indiana for that second spot. Obviously, Ohio State is the team to beat right now in the Big Ten, but you said it, Matt. It didn't look like these two teams belong in the same field together. It was bad. It was the most yards that Rutgers has ever given up in a Big Ten game, I believe. They gave up 750 yards of offense, 335 total passing yards, 426 total rushing yards. I mean, is there anything else to say? Realistically, what else is there to say?
I don't know.
You look at the games and listen. Yeah, I get it. It's been a rough stretch. You've lost 3 in a row. Now, 4 in a row. Second season in a row, you've had 2 4-game losing streaks. But I'll tell you what. You know what the difference is between this season and last season?
There's a lot of things, I guess. The defense.
I'll make it easy for you, right?
Okay.
Rutgers came off of a 4-game losing streak last season, losing to Nebraska, Wisconsin, UCLA, and USC.
Yeah.
They then played a Minnesota team who was not as good as they were last year. They then played a Maryland team who was not good. Played an Illinois team who Rutgers should have beat, and then a Michigan State team who was
I know where you're getting with this.
Okay, they lost 4 in a row and then won 3 of their last 4 bowl eligibility. Right, go to 2025. just for S's and G's, we'll let the audience figure out what S's and G's are. But you play Purdue, not a great team. You got to win that game.
Oh, yeah.
You got to win that game because Ryan Brown, their starting quarterback, unlikely to play. Malachi Singleton probably going to take over. This is a team that has a terrible record. Rutgers has to find a way to win that football game on the road. Then you go to Champaign, take on Illinois, team that's been ranked in and out of the season, a team that should probably be a ranked team. Not an easy win. And you play Maryland. Maryland's a decent football team this year. It's not the Maryland of old. That's going to be a tough game. All right? Then Ohio State, you're not winning that game. So, simply put, you're probably going to score less points, and Ohio State might put up more points than Oregon did. And then Penn State to finish the year. So you tell me the difference between last year and this year.
The schedule.
Well, yes. Now, is this probably the best chance that Rutgers has to beat Penn State in the past 15 years? Whatever it might be, 10
Maybe.
years? 100%.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Not a good Penn State team. They've lost a lot of games. They fired their head coach.
Lost our QB.
But guess what?
Still better than Rutgers.
Still a damn good offense and a damn good defense.
Yeah.
There is a non-zero chance, and I'm saying this not even like this is outlandish.
No, I know what you're
there
gonna
is
say.
a non-zero chance that Rutgers finishes the season with one more win, maybe even 3-9.
Yeah, they could be. I mean,
You lose to Purdue, you finish the season 3-9.
if you lose to Purdue, you're not beating Maryland.
If you lose to Purdue, you're not winning another game.
Yeah.
Purdue is a must-win football game for two reasons. One, if you want to make a bowl for the third straight year, guess what? Purdue is where it starts. And two, you lose that game, I think you start to lose some, you come off of a bad loss, and then you come off of, arguably if they lose to Purdue, that'd be a worse loss than the loss to Oregon. Because you knew Oregon was going to happen. Maybe you didn't realize the score would be that bad. But you lose to a Purdue team that's, I believe, 2-5 right now. Season's out the window. Because you're not making it to 6 wins. And I'll tell you what, even if you do, you sure as hell don't belong as a bowl team. Must-win game this weekend. And even saying that, it's still not outlandish to say that Rutgers could finish this season with just one more win on their schedule.
I fully believe it. I think that's not a crazy take at all. But the way they've been playing, if they win one more game, I would not be shocked. I mean, they already let 2 games slip. 3 games slip, actually. The Minnesota, Iowa, and Washington. Not in that order, but, they let those games slip, too. I mean, granted, I didn't think they were going to win all 3 of them. But you should have beat Iowa. You should have beat, Minnesota. Washington, they just completely fell apart in the second half. I mean, most of those games, they fell apart in the second half. The offense in the second half has been awful this season. But, yeah, this game is just so important. And, there's no sugarcoating it. You have to win that game, Purdue. There's seriously no sugarcoating it. It's so important.
For reference, Purdue, 2-5, 0-4 in conference play. Their 2 wins are against Ball State and Southern Illinois. Maryland, on the other hand, is a 4-3 football team right now. They beat FAU, beat Northern Illinois, beat Townsend, beat Wisconsin. Then they only lost by 4 to a Washington team that beat Rutgers by 19.
Yeah.
They only lost by 3 to a Nebraska team that is a solid football team.
Yeah.
And then they lost by 3 to a UCLA team who, honestly, is maybe one of the hottest teams in college football right now. Not saying it's impossible. I don't want to sound like a total pessimist. But you have to beat Purdue. Because at the very least, if you beat Purdue, you have a sliver of a hope that you might beat Penn State in the final game of the season to become bowl eligible. But then again, do they really? With the defense, this is an honest question to you, Matt. With the defense that Rutgers has, are you confident in them winning any game this season?
I think the only game where I'm looking at it, I'm like, all right, they could win this game is Purdue, honestly. I think that's still the answer. I think it's Purdue and Maryland, the only teams where I think they can win, but Maryland's not going to be easy. Purdue is the only game I think where I'm like, I think Rutgers actually is the favorite. It's slight, though. It's very small. But I don't know. I think that's it.
And this is just a little interesting tidbit to look at, right? Penn State is a 3-4 football team right now, right? Play Ohio State they're on a bye this week. Then they play Ohio State. Probably a loss. Then they play Indiana. Probably a loss.
Wow, they have a tough schedule.
So that drops them now to 3-6, right? Then they play Nebraska, Michigan State, winnable game, 4-6.
Yeah,
Nebraska, winnable game, 5-6.
And then Rutgers.
There is a very, very good chance, and I've said this before, I would say at least 50 to 60% chance that both Rutgers and Penn State come into Saturday, November 29th at SHI Stadium with the exact same record.
Oh, my gosh.
The exact same thing they're playing for. And the winner goes to a bowl. And I'll tell you what. I have zero faith in Rutgers if that is the case. I have zero faith. I'm sorry. This team has showed me nothing this season that says to me, you should have faith that they can win a football game they're not supposed to win. Because you weren't supposed to beat Iowa, but guess what? You played them close. You probably should have won that football game.
They should have beat Iowa.
You're leading at halftime. You played Minnesota really tough. Minnesota's a pretty good football team. Minnesota just knocked off Nebraska. They're a pretty good football team. You led them at halftime. You lost. Washington, you were tied at halftime or up 3 at halftime, whatever it was. Could have won that game. And guess what they didn't do?
Win.
They have not won a single Big Ten game this season. What are we doing? How is it possible that coming out of halftime, when you're supposed to make adjustments, that you don't make adjustments, but somehow, some way, the other team does? That's not going to win you football games, Matt. It's not. Not in this conference, not in any conference. If you're not able to adjust and you're not able to have the same offensive firepower in the second half that you do in the first, you're going to lose football games. And I'll tell you why. Because your defense is not getting a stop. This Rutgers defense is awful. I hate to sound harsh, but they're awful.
They suck. That's the bottom line.
And with that said, you know that. So your offense, who has produced, this offense hasn't been for a lack of points. Scored 28 points against Minnesota. Scored 28 points against Iowa. Granted, you only scored 19 against Washington. But guess what the common factor of every single Big Ten game has been this year, besides it being a loss?
It was close to halftime?
Besides that. Rutgers has yet to hold a Big Ten football team to under 30 points in a game this season. For Christ's sake, they gave up 31 points to a MAC school. 31 points to Ohio.
Yeah.
This is a bad defense, and it's a really good offense. Now, we didn't see it last week, granted, but again, Oregon is a team that's probably going to have, less than, I would say like 35% of their team probably gets looks by NFL teams.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good defense. It's a very well-coached team. Dan Lanning is a hell of a coach. So that'll be the outlier. But guess what? Your defense needs to step up. Something has to change in the defensive side. Whether it's play calling, whether it's who's calling the plays, something has to change because you can't keep letting your offense down, scoring 30 points besides the last 2 games. 3 games. Minnesota, they scored 28. But you have to be able to score, right? Which Rutgers has done. But you also have to be able to make a stop because you could score all you want. At the end of the day, you're not winning a lot of 64, 63 games in the Big Ten. And that's where I'll leave football. If you have anything else to add, be my guest. But that's my Rutgers football rant of the season.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's just, Sean mentioned that there were some changes he made, so we'll see on Saturday. Nick, you'll be out there in West Lafayette, and then on Tuesday next week you can come back and give us the full report, depending on win or loss. But yeah, I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. That game's a must-win. If they lose that game, the alarm bells are already ringing. They're already loud. They're already hurting my ears. But if they lose that game, I will be deaf.
Yeah. It will be season over if you lose to Purdue. But that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, you can check us out on YouTube at The Daily Targum, as well on Instagram and online, thedailytargum.com online, and just The Daily Targum on Instagram. But Matthew Mangam, Nick Hart signing off for, what is this, episode 17 now?
Mm-hmm.
Man, we've been doing this for quite some time. Episode 17 of the Rutgers Rundown podcast. Tune in next week on Tuesday for more coverage of Rutgers sports.